Well, another installment of Grindhouse Purgatory with 42nd Street Pete, and this one is more of our Halloween watch. These are films 16 through 20. Some were good, some were bad. Well, film number 16 is Burnt Offerings, another haunted house movie with Oliver Reed, Karen Black, Betty Davis, and was directed by, who directed this thing? Dan Curtis from TV fame. Honestly, didn't like it. I thought it was an overblown TV movie. I mean, I love Oliver Reed to death. Karen Black's great too, but I don't know, for some reason, you know, after another viewing, I don't know how many years later, honestly didn't hold up. Which brings us down to our next one. What did I do? Mix these up? Okay, I did. An 80s slasher film restored on Blu-ray, The Burning, with effects by Tom Savini. This is the one where basically they accidentally set this camp handyman on fire named Cropsey, or whatever the hell his name is. And then years later he comes back for revenge. Unfortunately, this one didn't sit too well with me either, because this is another crop of these 80s slasher films, which basically there's a different one fucking out every month, thanks to Friday the 13th. So that was one of them. But anyway, let's segue into something better. I think it's better. A 50s film called Earth vs. the Spider, directed by Burt Gordon. And of course, this was, you know, the blown up real spider and the people and stuff like that. There's a big spider living in a cave, but there's no reason given for it. It kills a guy on the way home from work. His daughter goes looking for him. They go in the cave. They find the giant spider. They basically DDT it and bring it back to the high school until the scientists can pick it up. Well, anyway, what happens is a band starts to play in the auditorium as the janitor had let them in where he wasn't supposed to, and rock and roll wakes up the fucking giant spider. And if you look at the cast of the rock and rollers, there's one guy, his name's Skip Young, who was basically, I think, in either Ozzie and Harriet or Leave It to Beaver, one of those TV shows. The spider wrecks the town. There is some very visible blood in this film for some reason. One of the cops gets whacked in the face with the big, you know, spider leg, and he's bleeding here. The guy in the beginning gets killed when his windshield shatters and there's blood all over the place. And you see something you really don't see in too many 50s films, that a small child walking around the wreckage with blood on her face. So eventually they get the spider back into the cave, and there's a bunch of other shit going on, but they eventually electrocute it, and there was no sequels. As of this recording, Burt I. Gordon is still with us today. Another classic I had to revisit was Curse of Frankenstein, put out on a double bill with Horror of Dracula, the Hammer films. This was the first casting of Peter Cushing as Dr. Frankenstein and Christopher Lee as the monster. Unlike the Universal series of films, the Hammer films focused mainly on the doctor and not the monster. There was a different monster in every Frankenstein film. If I could, you know, run them off, I'm thinking there was, let's see, basically the character was supposed to be executed at the end of Curse of Frankenstein, but he survived that and went on to be in Evil of Frankenstein, Revenge of Frankenstein, Frankenstein Created Woman, and Frankenstein and the Monster from Hell. Each with a different monster, with the same Mad Doctor Peter Cushing, who took that role as his own. Lee only played the monster once in Curse of Frankenstein, then went on to be Hammer's Dracula. And basically, Curse of Frankenstein was the first film that Cushing and Lee did together, and they battled each other in basically every Dracula film, as Cushing played Van Helsing in them. So, it's been a long watch, because I saw this originally at a kiddie matinee and had the the DVD back in the day. But you know, everybody loves the Hammer films, but you know, on a rewatch, there wasn't too much happening with this. You know, there was some, you know, eyeballs and brains and severed hands and shit like that. I think there was maybe 2 kills, and then the monster gets tossed into a vat of acid. It might have been shocking back in the 50s when I originally saw it, but today it sort of mellows out. And film number 20, Island of Terror. Again, Peter Cushing's in this one also, along with Edward Judd. And this is another, film that was scary back in the day because these creatures suck the bones out of people. But, when they restore these films and bring them up, unfortunately, as it works with this one, there's a lot of flaws seen in this. And these turtle-like creatures, it looks like people are just hugging them to themselves. And when they drop out of trees, you can see how really cheesily they were made. So, it was a good revisit. I liked the film, but like I said, bringing it up to snuff, so to speak, didn't do it any justice. Some things are probably better left, untouched. So that's our next 5 Halloween films that I have watched, and we got more to come because, like I said, I'm doing this till October 31st. So we'll have the next installment pretty soon. So until then, thanks for subscribing, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the flip side.